80% blockage. And when they went in to put one stent in to fix my blockage, that's where they saw my artery had exploded. Doctor told my daughter he don't know how I was still alive. Was busted like a can of crescent rolls. Instead of one stent, I got 7 stents.
Welcome back to another episode of the FilterLIFE Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Holmes, and today we have an amazing guest with us that is a kidney warrior battling chronic kidney disease. Today, we welcome Ms. Sandra Hall to our show and to our podcast. She's here as a kidney disease patient that we're going to shine a light on. She's going to tell you a little bit about her journey with kidney disease, how her treatment has been going, and what kind of treatments options were available to her. Definitely gets a little dicey. So, Sandra, welcome to the show. Welcome to our podcast. And thank you so much for spending this time with us today. How are you?
Thank you for inviting me. I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Good. How you feel today, first and foremost? You feel okay?
I feel good. Yeah.
Good. Okay. I feel like we get the patients, man. Sometimes, we assume that you feel good today because you felt good yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case. So I like to
Well,
check in with us and make sure that today you're feeling pretty good. So now, Sandra, we start our podcast, the FilterLIFE Podcast, off with this question. What does the word FilterLIFE mean to you? How do you interpret the word FilterLIFE?
I would interpret that into my overall process of having to deal with this kidney failure. From the time I wake up in the morning to the time I going through the day and go to bed at night. That's taking my medications, checking my vitals, and set myself up for dialysis. And this is a 7-day-a-week process. But I know that I have to do it. Yeah, 7 days a week, 9 hours a night.
7 days a week due to kidney failure. Your kidneys aren't working at all.
I think I got like 4%. Yeah.
So, Sandra, when did this all start taking place for you? How long have you been struggling with this kidney disease?
Well,
Okay.
February 3rd, 2024.
Okay.
I'm from Georgia, and I came to North Carolina where I'm at right now to visit my daughter for her birthday, and I had a stroke.
What part of Georgia? I got a lot of friends in Georgia.
Savannah, Hinesville, Reedsville. So, I come to visit my daughter for her birthday, and I was actually planning on moving here. I had a horrible headache, bad headache. Ended up having the ambulance came, and I had a stroke. So I had a brain bleed. So I was in the hospital at Duke University for like 3 days, and I woke up, and I had a team of doctors. I mean, from head to toe. Literally from head to toe. So one doctor come in, and she basically explained to me a whole lot that I had going on, but she said, anybody ever tell you you was going in kidney failure? I was like, no, I never heard it before. She was like, yeah, you at stage 4 right now. And by 6 months, you're going to be on dialysis. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't even know where I'm at right now.
I'm in they hit you with all that, like as soon as you woke up?
As soon as I woke up. And she told
Sandra,
me,
I'm so sorry.
You need to prepare for dialysis. I'm like, I ain't believe that. I heard a lot of horrible stories about dialysis. So, a lot of other things went on through my stroke journey. But about 6 months into May or June, I went back to Georgia to my mom's. I was not getting on dialysis. I ran from it.
You ran from it.
I ran from it. I'm like, I'm not doing this. So I was seeking a naturalist doctor to try to help me. And she was like, I'm going to try to help you. She said, but I had to do blood work on you. She said, you at 10%. I can't help you.
10% versus 100%. Did you feel any different other than the headache or having a stroke? Did it lead up? Did you feel sick for a couple weeks, or did it just come? Like you just, boom.
I had been swelling in my left leg. I've been to several doctors for that. They was like checking me, see if I had a blood clot or anything. And everything showed up negative. So I had no indication that I was in kidney failure. None.
This is why kidney failure ends so many people with the same story. We crash into the hospital some way, some form. Me, I blew up like the Michelin tire man overnight. You had swelling in your ankle. I had swelling head to toe. I was this big old dude, right? I used to walk around like 215. I gained like 80 pounds, what it felt like overnight. It was crazy. So waddle into the hospital. You wake up, you got a medical team head to toe standing over you. You have no clue even where you are, and they're like, "Hey, let's talk about dialysis right now for the rest of your life." How do you process that, Sandra? How did you process that?
It was hard.
It was
It's
hard.
hard. I'm still processing it now. I'd have family support. No, I live with my daughter right now. I got a big support team. I have my brothers and
That's huge.
sisters, my mom, my children. I got new grandbabies since I've been here with her. So
I
that
love
kind
that.
of give me so much inspiration. But it's
Yeah.
really it's not as easy as people think, and it as easy as I make it look. But that's
Well,
hard.
you look amazing. I couldn't look
Thank
at you and
you.
tell that you are on life support for 7 days a week. I can look at you and you look like somebody I would see at the mall. How was that after your diagnosis, having to communicate about this whole dialysis and the options there, and that it must have been scary for you and your family.
My daughters that's here with me, they take me to the doctors. They here when I having fluid overload and have to rush me to the emergency room. So I know it's hard for them. And I don't like that. So I fight hard. I fight hard to keep them at ease, I say.
As a patient, we feel like we burden others with
Exact
our disease,
exact
and it feels like a burden, even though we may not. Your daughter may not look at you as a
yeah.
burden. She may look at you as mama, and I'm just taking care of mama. I know as a patient, we feel that. I feel that often, that I'm a burden, and that because kidney disease, when you don't get to choose it, you don't get to sign up for it, and you don't get to quit from it. When it picks you, it's picked you, and it's picked you forever. It's
Right.
about the support system around you that helps pick you up. That's all it's about. I'm so glad that you have somebody with you to be able to help pick you up in those times when you wake up and you feel like crap and everything hurts and just the world around you is crumbling and you think there's no light at anybody's end of any tunnel. Sometimes a hug or that ride that you didn't have to drive, that meal you ate that you didn't have to prepare, that one task that you're used to doing that somebody just did for you. Those small little things. I look at those little things as blessings. I'm thankful for them, but I definitely relate to that feeling of being a burden. I don't want to be a burden. I didn't get to choose this. My family didn't choose this. I talk about that often with like my wife. We got married, and then you say in sickness and in health. Well, I'm gonna put you to the test. It speaks volumes of a person that will not only turn around and help somebody else, but for us to recognize our own disabling factors and allow others to help us. We don't want to allow people to help us because we're strong and we were super strong before we had this disease. And we want to be super strong after we have this disease. And in our minds, sometimes our minds are way more capable than our physical bodies are. I know for me, it weighs on me a lot coming from such a high speed environment, being in the military and having a high speed job. I never thought my body was going to quit on me ever.
Yeah.
Never would imagine that I thought my mind would quit on me before my body would. I just realized that it's opposite. My body feels like it's quitting on me. It takes a strong mind to not allow that to happen, to
Okay.
not allow that and to fight back. I applaud you, Sandra,
Thank you.
for having that strong mind. It's okay to feel the way that you feel. They're valid. They are very valid to have those feelings of burdenship, almost like imposter syndrome. There's people out there with no arms and no legs. Why am I complaining? I deal with that because I talk to some of my brothers and sisters in the military that have no arms and no legs. And they look at me and go, your organ don't work right? They're like, well, at least I got my organs. So it's perspective. It's a lot of perspective. It took me having conversations with people to get to that point, to allow myself to get to that point. So stay strong. Keep doing what you're doing. Now, after you were diagnosed, you were put on dialysis. Did you go to in-center dialysis? How did that work?
After I ran from Georgia,
Okay.
I had to come back to North Carolina. I went to the doctor and I was like, okay, you got me. What
You
you got
got
me?
me.
I got to do this for my family as well as myself too. It took a lot of prayer for me to do it. I went to
You went in-center. Okay.
in center, 3 days a week, 4 hours a day. That was hard too. That was hard because thought that, I felt different than the rest of those people in there. A lot of old people, a lot of moaning and groaning, a lot of crying, and I'm looking like, what in the world is finna happen to me? And people just passing out and stuff, and I thought I was next. It was real frightening.
Wow.
They say it was when they pull the fluid off of your body, if they pull too much fluid, it causes cramps. And
Like those Charlie horse cramps,
yeah,
I've
but
heard.
they was having more than Charlie horse. Their cramps were like these people were actually just passing out on the ground, and it just scared the crap out of me.
My goodness.
I got more strength. I even inspired my case manager because I was a case manager before I became ill. So that was my profession. I even talked to her and helped her help the other people inside it. And she was like, "We need you to be like a spokesperson for dialysis." I was like, "No, y'all just it's just a way that you talk to people to help, just to let us know that you care." We just laying there like just a person getting fluid pulled off of them. Nobody come talk to us, check on us, see how they doing and nothing. And I just inspired her to do that, and so many people started. They made their treatment happier.
It made the treatment a lot happier.
A
Yeah,
lot
I walked
happier.
into locally in my local community. I like to walk into the dialysis centers and talk to the social workers, but I want to go talk to the ones that are in the chair.
Yeah.
Bring them some snacks, shake a hand, say hi. I give out my cards. I let them know that I'm out here fighting for them and that I haven't forgot about them. I can only imagine one day I may end up in that chair. It's very possible for me to end up in a dialysis chair or on PD at home or something like that, or in need of a transplant, all those things. So it's important that we have conversations like this to be able to get the awareness out that dialysis sucks, man. It sucks bad.
Yes.
I've never been on it. Me personally, I can't speak from experience, okay? I'm not a dialysis warrior. I've been through other pains and other ailments and other treatments, but dialysis was never one of them for me yet. My heart goes out to the ones that have had to go through that therapy because I see them in a chair. I want to get you out of that chair. Some of them don't even know that there is options to get out of that chair.
Right.
Their medical team maybe didn't give them any information that there's options to get out. They just said, "Hey man, you got CKD. This is your new stop Monday, Wednesday, Friday. See you when I see you." And far too often, that's the stories that I hear.
My nephrologist, after watching my my levels and everything, so I'm gonna come to dialysis for you, but I'm gonna be out of here in 6 months. And I promise you, I was out in 6 months. 6 months to the day. I came December 12th, 2024. I got out May 12th, 2025.
What is the key to getting yourself off of dialysis? Many people that might be listening right now may think, hold on, I thought dialysis, you need a kidney to get off of dialysis.
Well, he switched me from in-center to PD, but to get out of the in-center, your vitals got to be maintained steady. Your A1C got to be 5 or 6, and everything just have to be look as you're okay, except your kidney's not working. And you got to be mentally able to run this PD machine. So they felt as if I was mentally competent to be my own nurse, pretty much.
Yeah. PD stands for peritoneal dialysis. Can you tell me a little bit about how that's different from in-center dialysis and why you would want to do PD versus in-center?
Well, PD versus in-center, you're not laying in that chair stiff for 4 hours. And it's more so of I got more time to go anywhere I want to go during the day. I just hook up to the machine at night, and I think a lot. I had a port in my chest in center, and I didn't like that. That was devastating. You can't shower. You have to bird bath it. I bird bath it a lot. I don't want to say how long, but it's better when you can get in the shower now.
So your port, when you hook up, just for clarity, when you hook up to in-center, they put the access port to your vein up in your chest, close to your neck, or they put it in a fistula in your arm.
Right.
Is that correct?
Correct.
So you had the port up in your chest. Now with that, you said you can't shower because the port's kind of like open. Right? So you got to keep it really clean. It's very sensitive, I've heard.
Very sensitive, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you had that. So that was the motivation of like, I got to get this. I don't want this port. Peritoneal dialysis, the port, how do they access the internals of your body? Is it a different port somewhere else?
Yeah, it's in my abdomen.
In your abdomen. Okay. A little bit better to deal with, I guess, than all up in your All the
Right, and all I gotta do is, like, just wrap up my cords and keep it covered.
Okay.
Or it can get wet. It just can't be, like, direct pressure on it.
Direct. I got you.
Yeah, so it's really manageable.
How did it feel? What was the difference between in center that you only had to do 3 days a week versus at
Oh.
home that you got to do 7 days a week?
I feel more independent, but I don't feel as sick. That makes sense. I felt
It makes a lot of sense.
sickly
Okay.
in the in center, but here I feel I'm okay. I feel like
So I think that is attributed to the rate at which we remove these toxins out of your blood. So when you go in center, a lot of people don't know, we go in center and it's really aggressive. They pull the water and the toxins and those kind of things off of your body in 4 to 6 hours. And they do it pretty aggressively at a speed. Again, we got to free up this chair for the next person.
uh-huh.
So it's pretty aggressive and they want you there every other day. But when you leave dialysis, since it's so aggressive, you just got rid of so much fluid out of your body, right? So it equates to like somebody who just ran a marathon and you sweated out all this water. Think about the last time you had the most exhausting physical effort, whether that was in the garden or at the gym or playing a sport, right? That that is what I've been told is kind of a little bit of how it feels to come off a dialysis. Once your dialysis is over, and then most people got to go to work, got to go to school, they got to go be the bus driver or the nurse at the hospital, or they got to go be the judge at the court. These people have to go live their lives after this. So the rate at which they pull the water off of you, I think, is the biggest difference between in-center and peritoneal that you do at home. Because at home, now correct me if I'm wrong, you can do it at a slower rate. It's not 4 to 6 hours, right?
Yeah, it's 9 hours.
It's 9 hours.
9 hours.
So we're taking the water and the fluid and the toxins off the body at almost half the rate, maybe even slower. So do you get the cramping still? No cramping. You wake up, you kind of feel energized, like your blood had just been cleaned out. Kind of?
Kinda, yeah.
Kind of.
I wake up hungry.
You wake up hungry. Okay.
Very hungry.
Okay. I can see that.
Glucose that's put in my body overnight. And it's like to say it may raise my blood sugar like 400. And I gotta stay like that all night. So I wake up maybe with a dry mouth or a headache or something like that, but I already know what it is. So I know how to get it. Take my medicine and get up and move around and get myself back together. And then sometimes throughout the night you have to learn how to eat. Like if I eat after 8 and get on the machine right after I eat, the fluid, they put the PD is the fluid going in my peritoneal cavity. So it goes in there and it'll blow you up like real big and it hurts my stomach after that. But I've learned now try to eat earlier and let my food settle because there's not much room for the food and the fluid at the same time. But after you just learn how to do it and how to maneuver it, it's okay. I don't want to do it the rest of my life. Of course, I look at the machine a lot, and I get in my feelings like this is what's keeping me alive. But I also, thank the Most High, like, just thank you for giving me a way to be alive right now.
Yeah, I love that. It's a good perspective to look at it. The machine is my life support, different than the machine that breathes for the people who can't breathe. The heart pacer for the person's heart that doesn't beat. Technology is amazing, and the fact that we have the technology there as a therapy. Again, as I speak to doctors and people around the country, dialysis is a therapy treatment. It's not a cure. It's not kidneys don't work. Guess you're going to be on this. I walk in this room and it's just chairs
Right.
in a lobby, and it's just people just doot, doot. That's all you hear. And it's just people going through agony or some are on their phones. It's not by choice. It's not by choice. They have to be there. If not, then we expire. So I like to let people know out there that there's people like Sandra every day that need a kidney, want a kidney, and are doing everything they possibly can to obtain a kidney. We're not always in the right place to be able to accept the kidney based on what our bodies do. There's a lot that goes into kidney donation. There's a lot that goes into it that a lot of people don't understand. They think, number one, if I just sign up to be a donor, it's on the back of my license, it'll be fine. Well, that's not how most kidney donation works. Most people that get diagnosed with kidney disease, there weren't a lot of signs and symptoms. So if you're listening to this and you don't know your kidney function, I'd be asking my doctor next time I talk to him, I'll be sending him a message like, yo, what's going on? How are my organs? Because if you don't really know the numbers of how well your organs, right? Yeah, the doctor said, I'm at 10%. Ain't nothing I can do. Not at 10%, but maybe if you were at 80%, and you were looking at the holistic route, maybe there's something there you could have done to prolong the kidney health, right? 80, 90%. If we were told or even knew, then we could have chose other things.
Right.
We had other opportunities. But when you show up at you show up in the hospital with 0%, and they're like, well, here's your life support system. Have a nice day. Sandra, I want to let the viewers know the luxury of dialysis is doing it at home 7 days a week. That's the luxury.
Pretty much, yeah. That's
the best it gets. That's the best it gets right now, is that you can do it at home 7 days a week. Now, what happens if you miss a day?
He was on dialysis. He passed in center last year.
Sorry
and I
for
had to
that.
get to Georgia to the funeral. And it wasn't available for me to get all my equipment to Georgia in time. So what I was told was like, just watch what I drink, watch my fluid intake. That's all they told me. And if it seemed like I was going in fluid overload or something, then just go to the emergency room.
And how did that work out for you?
I was fine. I
You were fine?
really didn't have an appetite to eat or drink anything, but I monitored my fluid intake.
Now, you said this was your father that passed away
Correct.
from the kidney disease?
Yes.
Have you ever looked into genetic testings to see if this kidney disease could be hereditary?
No, I didn't.
Okay, we're going to talk more about that because there is some new science out there. Link, it's called APOL1, APOL and the number 1. And APOL1 is a gene marker that we can look for in our blood. And it's really prominent in the Black and brown communities, West African descent. What they found in research is that some people have copies of this gene. And when you have the copies of this gene, it turns into a form of kidney disease. And it causes some scarring, and it causes the kidney function to decline, and these kind of things. If we can do some genetic testing and we can be aware of this, let's say at birth, there are companies that we're working with right now that are developing treatments, medications to slow the progression. So that way the APOL1 gene gets interrupted and doesn't actually affect the kidney, doesn't attack the kidney. But if we're not doing the genetic testing, if we're not aware that it's even out there, but yet we have relatives that are showing up with kidney disease, well, we want to look into that, right, Sandra? Because you say you live with your daughter.
Right. I have 3 daughters.
If we find that it's genetics,
right,
it may not stop. So how many generations do we have to go through of dialysis? And I watched my mom on dialysis and my grandmother on dialysis.
right.
How many generations of trauma do we have to go through before we can recognize the fact that this is genes? We can address this. There's actually technology out there today that addresses this. So APOL1 mediated kidney disease is becoming more and more prevalent. We're becoming more aware of it as we have the conversation, as we go into our Black and brown communities, as we give this information out and get people tested, they're starting to pop up. There might be some answers, is what I'm saying.
Right.
There may not be any answers for you and I, but there might be answers for those that come after us. And that's a really good thing. I was diagnosed with this disease in 2020, okay? There wasn't one treatment for my disease, membranous nephropathy. There wasn't one. There still isn't approved by the FDA. None. Zero. The treatments that they use are cancer medicines, or they're organ anti-rejection medications, or they're high-dose steroids that cause all types of ailments. There's no real specific treatment for my disease. Yet, I've been treated, and I'm in a partial remission because I decided to think outside the box with my medical team. If we can encourage others to think outside the box, we might be able to effectively cause change in people in the way that they look at kidney disease and the way that kidney disease is diagnosed. So genes is a big contributing factor to kidney disease, and that's something we're learning. Tell me a little bit about where we are today, Sandra. Where are we at with kidney disease? You told me you're on peritoneal. Can you travel anymore? Do you travel? Do you like to travel?
A social life is different. It's not the way it used to be. A
Help me
social life.
understand that.
I'm used to just my I'm used to just getting up, going and doing what I want to do when I want to do it. Come back when I want to. I had an occasional drink here and there, social drink. So I totally cut that off. But just getting out around people, it made me feel different. I feel like I can't. I gotta be super careful in the areas that I go in. I have to watch what I eat everywhere I go. Just sanitation overall, going like in public places, trying not to get any germs or anything, nothing to get in my peritoneal area because it's a thing that you can get called peritonitis. Two things about peritonitis that worries me, which is a bad infection, number one. And number two, if I get peritonitis, I get disqualified for being on the transplant list. So that's
Takes a
kind
lot.
of more of a mental thing for me, trying to make sure I do everything clean and perfect, because I don't want to get disqualified. I've been disqualified already, but they giving me 6 more months to try to get
Now,
back
talk to
up.
me about some of the things that would make you disqualified, Sandra. What are some of those things that would cause a patient to be disqualified?
Well, the first thing that happened to me was they give you a whole lot of tests. I had to do the breast exam. I mean, from head to toe, you got to get tested. So vision, my dental. And they ended up finding that I had a 80% blockage. And when they went in to put one stent in to fix my blockage, that's where they saw my artery had exploded. The doctor told my daughter he don't know how I was still alive with an artery looked the way that it looked. Well, it should have been round, but he said it was busted like a can of crescent rolls, busted up like that. Instead of one stent, I got 7 stents.
What?
I'm sitting here now with 7 stents to put my artery back together.
Wow, you're a walking miracle. I'm so glad I got to meet you. Now, are you registered for transplant anywhere? If somebody wanted to help Sandra out in any way, is there a way that is there a way that somebody could help you?
I am registered at Duke University
Duke University. Okay.
and Wake Forest.
Wake Forest. Okay. So two different hospitals that you're registered at. Those that swear they want to save a life. There's one right here we can save right now, and she's doing everything she possibly can to stay motivated, to stay active, to stay healthy enough to be on this list. What I tell people, and I want them to understand, is the longer the disease festers in our body, the longer we're on dialysis as a treatment, the harder it is for our bodies to stay in a condition ready for living donor transplant.
Right.
So time is always of the essence, not as urgent as like somebody in liver failure, but somebody who doesn't have a kidney, thanks to dialysis, it buys us some time. It'll buy that patient some time. For Sandra, it buys her time every day. 7 days a week, she's on this machine for 9 hours a day. It's buying her time to the next person that qualifies to give her a kidney, all while trying to stay active with all our stents and all the things, right? And all the ailments that happen. It's inspiring, Sandra. It's very inspiring. As a patient, you inspire me because I deal with a lot of my own issues, nerve damage and things that make it really difficult to walk and to just live on earth with gravity. My saving grace is getting in the ocean or getting in my hot tub and being able to swim. I come from the Rescue Swimmer Society in the Navy, and I love to swim. Peritoneal dialysis would end that for me. Dialysis, period, would end that for me. I'm still in denial about that. I don't know how I would come to that because I don't know what I would do to find my peace. I'm sure I would find a different way, as we all do. I'm sure, Sandra, you find a way to find your peace every day as well.
With peritoneal, you can get in the water, and the ocean preferred due to germs, but you have to be in your own pool where nobody else get in your pool but you. It's got to be a control,
Very
something
controlled
like that.
environment.
But the ocean, you can get in salt water. That's it.
You can or you
I
cannot?
can't go to water parks or nothing. I can't
No.
do any of that no more.
Now, how is it? But showering, we can take a shower. No more bird baths and none of that sponge
It's
baths, or
not
how?
I have to change my shower head monthly. That's expensive.
And that's because of the germs, the possible germs that could be in the water.
To sanitize it every day. Every day.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, living by yourself might make it a little
Right.
easier because you don't have to go after everybody to re-sanitize everything that they touched. But yet, living by yourself, you got to do this all by yourself.
Right.
So changing a water head.
But I don't do it, but my son-in-law does it.
So this is why they make sure that us patients have a good support system at home.
Definitely.
And that's a big part of kidney transplant qualification, is making
Right.
sure you have a support system at home. So again, to our listeners, if you need a kidney transplant and you are thinking about ways of how am I going to qualify, well, at home, a home support system is huge.
Yes.
It's huge. You have to have it just to help with your day-to-day, but you're also going to have it for your transplant. You need help after your transplant. You need people at home. They will not do a transplant for you
Nope.
if you're not prepared. They won't do it. There's too many people. I mean, a transplant list right now is like 10 years long. Life expectancy of a patient on dialysis is 5 years.
5 years.
What do we do? How do we get our patients off dialysis and get them new kidneys? Well, Sandra, I will tell you, there is some hope out there. There are some things that people are doing. One thing that we do is we go to DC and we lobby to the people who make our laws to help change some of these laws that are around and that affect us as patients. One of those is a bill that's been introduced into Congress called H.R. 2687, and that's the End Kidney Deaths Act. The reason I talk about that act is because the End Kidney Deaths Act it will motivate people to donate. How does it motivate? Well, it's illegal to provide financial reimbursement or financial payment for a person who wants to donate a kidney. We can't buy kidneys. That's how people ended up in bathrooms with cuts in their side back in the 80s. So we can't buy kidneys, because they end up on the black market. So to keep that from happening, they made it illegal to provide compensation to somebody who wants to give up a kidney. Well, people who do selfless service get compensated all the time. I was compensated when I decided to join the military. They compensated me for that. When I decided to be a first responder and serve my country that way, they compensated me for that. They compensate you if you want to donate blood and plasma and ovaries and all these other things that you get some compensation for. I don't see a 10-year waiting list for those things. But kidneys, it's a selfless service that you can do one time, that a person can do one time in their life. I can serve my country and do selfless services every day, but I can donate one kidney because you need the other one to live.
Right.
And this bill that's getting a lot of congressional support, by the way, would provide a kidney donor $10,000 refundable tax credit over 5 years. That gives them $50,000 guaranteed, check in the mail, because it's refundable. So most people who decide to donate their kidney are still in the tax bracket where they receive tax refund. Now, this bill is only for those right now who are willing to donate altruistically. What that means is I want to give my kidney to the next able body that it qualifies for. That would take a 10-year wait list down to 0. Did you know?
I see.
You give people 10 G's a year for 5 years. That's 50 G's they can take care of. I mean, it's not life-changing money, but it's not designed to be. It's there to people who give up their organs worry about long-term health care. They worry about potentially getting kidney disease in their one good kidney. What happens when I get kidney disease, right?
Right.
So they have a voucher program for that. But there's also things where it's like, hey, I just had a guest on our podcast who donated a kidney to a patient that he met at a bar. Portions of his liver to a 9-month-old infant saved 2 lives. And his liver regenerated like in less than a year. It was back to normal. And he rides a bicycle across the country, spreading awareness about kidney donation and how you can live just a perfectly great life donating a kidney. So the more people that we can find and the more people we can have conversations with about kidney disease and transplant and what it takes to be transplanted, people just think, man, like, Sandra, you'll get a kidney because there's like 1 million people got it on the back of their license. Or a family member, or some of these people don't qualify. People have to understand that sometimes we may have to test 20, 30 people to find one qualified donor.
Right.
that matches you. So that's where we have the paired exchange program. We have voucher programs. There's a lot of other things that are out there. If you're interested in donating a kidney, please reach out to us so we can get you in contact with the people that you need to get in contact with. We can get you in contact with Duke. We can get so that way you can get tested for Sandra, so we can save Sandra's life and get her off of this peritoneal dialysis that is literally life support for her. Sandra, I want to thank you for spending this time with us today. I want to thank you for opening up with us today. I know it's not easy talking about our diseases and our health and our ailments and how many times we've been beat down in the ground, but I felt, and it's been my experience, that the more that I have the conversation about it, the easier it is for me to digest, the less vulnerable I become. So the more I share my vulnerabilities and how I was vulnerable makes me less vulnerable is what I have found, to the point where I can get on a national stage and host a national podcast and talk about my disease that was going to put me in a grave. They still might. But I just wanted to thank you for coming on our show and opening it up to us and to the world. And we're going to do everything we can, us and our listeners are going to do everything we can, Sandra, to help you out. APOL1 mediated kidney disease. There's treatments that are coming. Those are life-changing treatments that they're going to keep people off of this dialysis, get them out of. I hope dialysis goes out of business one day because we got so many available kidneys to give to our people that have kidney failure that dialysis doesn't exist. Or maybe it's just a thought of the past, you know? But right now, it's very much the thought of today. It's very much the thought of tonight. Sandra, I know you're thinking about it. You're looking at the machine. You got to hook up tonight. This doesn't go away from you. Even though the podcast episode ends, this doesn't end for you. So we're here. We're here shining a light on those. You're not forgotten. There are many, 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 many more out there that are just like you. It's just one light that we can shed. One more life that we can save. Any closing words for any of our listeners, Sandra? Any words of encouragement or hope that you can give them?
I would just like to tell the rest of the warriors to keep the faith.
Keep the faith.
Faith moves mountains. Just believe and walk into your healing. The healing is there. And we can either beat this dialysis or let it beat us. Having a support system such as even you guys are a support system for us. Just embrace it and let people help you. Talk to people. Don't let it just take over your life. Still live your life.
Appreciate that. Live your life. You know, don't forget to live the life that you're trying to save. We spend so much time in fight or flight mode where we're like, you know, it hurts, it sucks, I feel like crap, I got to eat all these pills. Nobody cares, nobody's paying attention, nobody's listening. If I know I feel like that, and if I feel like that, I know other people feel like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one more step, man. Just put one more foot in front of the other, whether it's the right foot or the left foot, who cares? Just put a foot.
Keep going.
So I love that you kept your faith through everything. It gave you some motivation to kind of get through those really hard times.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people go through that and try and figure out how do you find that grit to keep moving on. And Sandra, you did it. You're what they say. If I could create a statue of kidney warrior, it would be of you, because when they say a warrior, you fought a battle. I don't want to fight, and I've been to war. I'm not scared of it. If it comes down there that we got to hop on some dialysis, we're going to do this podcast from the dialysis chair. We'll do this from the dialysis chair with my social worker over one side. You know what I mean? It's okay. It's okay. Look, we got to find ways to laugh. We got to find ways to enjoy ourselves, and we got to find ways to find community. So, Sandra, you're part of our family. If there's anything you need from us, please let us know. And we're not going to stop until we save every life that can be saved. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, guests, for joining and listening to another of our FilterLIFE podcast. Until the next time.
Bye.